What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Caffeinate today for May the 17th of 2019. My name is Samuel Adams, and welcome to today's show. Of course, if you do happen to be brand new to the program, this is a daily gaming news podcast where I bring you the hottest gaming news from around the industry, and I let you guys know what is happening in the industry we all love. And today we have some very exciting news because Sony and Microsoft are finally teaming up to develop new tech. Now, I do want to say, this is not a new console. This is not the end of the console wars, as we have all been talking about for millennia, it seems. No, this is development of game and content streaming services. So essentially, it's going to be Google and Amazon versus Microsoft and Sony, and then Nintendo's in the back playing with an empty milk jug and a wooden spoon in the backyard. But with that being said, exciting times nonetheless for fans of the new technology. But on top of that, Ubisoft says the Division 2 raid matchmaking is not coming anytime soon. We'll talk about what that means for those that are getting their Division on. The Epic Mega Sale on the Epic Games Store offers a variety of deep discounts, and I wanted to cover it because, hey, it's actually a really good sale. On top of that, a FORTNITE cross John Wick crossover adds KEANU Reeves to the Battle Royale. Rainbow Six Siege teases its brand new stylish operatives, and I have 2 free games for you. Again, not from me, but I can get you a copy of Guacamelee, and on top of that, a copy of SSX, both on PC. Free right now. Just kidding, not SSX. Ha, gotcha. It's steep. But with that being said, that is our lineup of news stories for the day, and I do hope you enjoy today's show. And again, this show, Caffeinate, is hosted live 5 days a week on twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams at 7 a.m. Eastern Time if you did want to check out the show. But of course, then it's taken down and put up on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia as well as podcast services around the world. And you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, on a variety of places posting the content. So be sure to follow me. Of course, links are readily available to you. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top stories. Sony and Microsoft team up to develop game and content streaming services. 2 gaming giants will collaborate on the development of new cloud and AI tech and better development platforms. In what may be the most unexpected team-up since Archie met the Punisher, Sony and Microsoft have announced plans to form a strategic partnership through which they will collaborate on the development of cloud-based technology to support their game and streaming services. Sony is a creative entertainment company with a solid foundation of technology. We collaborate closely with a multitude of content creators that capture the imagination of people around the world, and through our cutting-edge technology, we provide the tools to bring their dreams and vision to reality, Sony President and CEO Kenichiro Yoshida said in a statement. For many years, Microsoft has been a key business partner for us, though of course the 2 companies have also been competing in some areas. I believe that our joint development of future cloud solutions will contribute greatly to the advancement of interactive content. The partnership at this point is strictly a memorandum of understanding, which the company said will enable them to explore the potential use of Microsoft's Azure data centers to support Sony's online services, as well as joint development of new hardware and AI technology. More long-term, the announcements suggest a mix of Sony's hardware, cutting-edge image sensors, and semiconductors, and Microsoft's Azure AI and cloud technology. The parties will explore incorporation of Microsoft's advanced AI platform and tools in Sony customer products to provide highly intuitive and user-friendly AI experiences. Sony has always been a leader in both entertainment and technology, and the collaboration we announced today builds on this history of innovation. Our partnership brings the power of Azure and Azure AI to Sony to deliver new gaming and entertainment experiences for customers, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said. Game consoles typically fall outside our preview, but the potential impact of this partnership on gaming as a whole, through advances in streaming, AI, cloud technology, and the promise of better development platforms for the content creator community is enormous. Predictions of the final console generation have been kicking around for years. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said last year that he thinks the next console generation will likely be the last, but this may be the biggest step yet towards making that outcome a reality. And of course, this is a very big deal. Number one, because Microsoft and Sony are working together to create something gaming related, although it's not a console. But I think this could be even bigger than a console. They are literally laying down the foundation of the end of consoles, as they have been talking about for years. And I think that in a future, setting, that is actually possible, because the only reason consoles have been so popular up until this point is that they are accessible, easy to understand ways to gain access to gaming experiences that are cutting edge. For instance, if somebody wants to play the hottest game out on the market right now, which the one that popped into my mind was Rage 2, but that will last for about a week. But let's say somebody wants to play Rage 2 and they have literally no kind of technology that is capable of gaming. They can go out and buy a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One for a relatively affordable price and get a pretty good experience through that piece of hardware. That ease of access is what has allowed gaming consoles to rise to the top over PC gaming in a way. Of course, PC gaming is still huge in and of itself, but console gaming is the accessible, easy to understand way to get into gaming. So, if Microsoft and Sony can team up to use their technologies collaboratively, they can create new experiences that use these new streaming technologies, cloud-based technologies that are as accessible as a gaming console was today and 10 years ago and 20 years ago. If they can create something that is as easy to understand and is as easy to use as a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, then they have the future of the technology right there. That is the future of the gaming industry in and of itself. Now, until that point, consoles are still going to be massive, but you already see a huge shift towards digital. Of course, just this month, we saw the release of the Xbox One S All-Digital Edition, where you have literally no disc drive. Although it only knocked about $50 off the price, it still has no disc drive, so that's a pretty massive step forward, and I think everybody knows where this is all trending. Now, the unfortunate negative aspect of this is game preservation, the conservation of games that might be taken down off of streaming services, might be deleted from certain libraries, etc. How do we ensure that every game that has ever come out is playable in some kind of way, shape, or form? That's the beauty of physical, is that you do have a copy of the game right then and there in your hand. However, at the same time, many of those games that are physical have a huge digital portion that is only available via a download from servers, so that in and of itself blurs the line between physical and digital content. At the end of the day, you can break this down in a variety of ways, but it's exciting to see Sony and Microsoft teaming up to develop some kind of streaming service, or at least lay a foundation for future technologies that is going to, without a doubt, shape where the industry goes over the course of the next 10 to 20 years. That's what's happening right now. Do not think about this as something that is going to be developed and come out in 2019, 2020, or if anything ever even comes out. This is all just going to be technology that is integrated into our lives as people that play games. And so, we'll see where it goes, but it is, without a doubt, a very exciting time nonetheless. However, with that being said, let's talk about what's happening right now, because The Division 2 is a very popular game as it stands. Of course, did not sell that well on consoles, as we talked about a couple of days back. Still sold well, just not that well on consoles. But of course, the PC version is doing fantastic. But that doesn't matter if you play solo, or even if you just have a couple of friends. You have no way to matchmake for the brand new raid. However, Ubisoft has promoted the LFG and Discord to use to find teams. The Division 2's first raid is set to arrive this week, and everyone kind of assumed it would feature matchmaking, since Ubisoft previously stated that every activity would. Until it didn't. A number of players expressed their disappointment with the last-minute announcement, and many others requested answers. Well, it took Ubisoft over 24 hours to respond, but here is what they came up with. In short, they have no immediate plans to support matchmaking for raids, and even possibly some other post-launch activities. Get that expectation out there early, in case you do it again. Community developer Chris Gansler clarifies on the official forums that Operation Dark Hours, the first raid, will be the most challenging content we have ever created for the franchise. While incursions are compared to the raid, they are not the same, and the level of difficulty and requirements to work as a team are much higher. Noting that the content is too difficult, they made the conscious decision to not include matchmaking, but they also pin it on technical constraints or gameplay purposes. Ubisoft says that outcry will not work on them, as they don't have a simple switch to turn on matchmaking for raids. They follow this up by stating that they still think that might not be the best solution in the end, and tell people to look for parties on Discord and various LFG tools. Okay, so there is a lot to unpack here. They can't flip a switch, and of course that's a bit odd, but reminds the author of a whole PS4 crossplay debacle. It seems like the decision is weighted heavily on design, and if that is what they're going on, they should own it. But it is also unfortunate that they didn't clarify their everything has matchmaking statement until months after the fact. Of course, that built up a huge expectation for people when they were going into the division with the assumption that they would be able to matchmake during the raid. And so you get the gist of what's going on here. Also, pause, Raz in the chat, what's going on? But this is a big deal for people like myself, because I have been toying with the idea of getting into the Division 2. But with that being said, I am a solo player 9 times out of 10. I will occasionally, and I mean very occasionally, play a game with someone, but I tend to play by myself. That's just the nature of the beast for me. That's how I've always played games. And so to take out matchmaking from a raid, of course, raids being a huge part of the experience of the game, is a bit of a disappointment to me, and of course, a bit of a disappointment to a ton of other people. Even if you just have one friend that you played the Division 2 with, that is still very crippling when it comes to the raid, because again, raids are incredibly difficult, which brings me to my next point here. The opposite perspective. So, raids in and of themselves are an incredibly fun, incredibly huge part of an experience for a looter shooter like your Destiny, like your Division 2, etc. But whenever you take away that scarcity, whenever you take away that accessibility, that adds another level of difficulty, and that's where the developers are coming from on that perspective. When you take away the ability to team up with people inherently and make the raid easier, that is whenever you begin to get a bit of a blend of wanting matchmaking, but at the same time understanding why there is no matchmaking. And I know some people are going to, go very much so against that, but at the same time, there is nothing that can compare to that feeling of completing a raid, of completing a giant mission within a game with people that you have met, people that you have teamed up with, people that you have collaborated with, that you have made call-outs with. That style of teamwork creates an experience that is unable to be replicated via traditional matchmaking, and that's pretty much the perspective they are taking on this, because whenever you actually have a team of 8 players that are all working in coherence and they're all working in synergy with each other, that is what makes the experience of a raid the experience of a raid. And so I wish there was matchmaking for those that just don't care about that kind of teamwork, deep, impactful effort thing. But at the same time, I understand why there is not. So I did want to throw the question back out there, what you guys think. It's a pretty big deal. Of course, Division 2, one of the biggest looter shooters of the year. Now that Destiny 2 has begun to die back down yet again after the expansions, and on top of that, Anthem just absolutely came out and hit a brick wall. That thing has not gone anywhere. In fact, it is coming to EA Access because I don't think too many people are playing the game. But at the same time, let's talk about the Epic Games Store Epic Mega Sale, because you could pick up the Division 2 for $10 off, but it's not even part of the sale. You might be saying, what? How is that possible? It is, because it's a really good sale. The Epic Mega Sale on Epic Games Store offers deep discounts and free games each week. After accidentally announcing it on a FORTNITE pop-up, the Epic Games Store's first major sale is here, and it's an Epic Mega One. Every game at the storefront priced over $14.99 will be $10 off, with some titles discounted even more. Plus, Epic is doubling down on its free game strategy with a new free title every week during the sale, which does run through June the 13th. A frequently asked questions section anticipates many of the common complaints that pop up during big sales events, like what if I pre-ordered before the sale started and oh man, I just bought that game and now it's on sale. Most retailers will refund the difference of pre-orders are discounted between purchase and launch, but Epic is also refunding the price difference to customers who bought a game at its storefront between May 2nd and May the 15th. The 6-month-old Epic Games Store has been making waves in the PC gaming space, snapping up exclusives and causing big controversy along the way. The fact that this sale comes a few weeks before Steam's annual summer sale is another shot across the bow of Valve. The best deals from the Epic Games Store's Epic Mega Sale are below, and the sale ends on June the 13th. So, of course, you have a lot of games here on the store for sale. Stories Untold, free for the first week. Again, more games going to be announced that are free in the future. But if I had to pick, I would say Metro Exodus for $35 on PC. Pretty big deal right there. World War Z, a game that was shockingly well received for $20, which is, I think, a pretty good price for that. On top of that, $10 off pre-orders. So if you want to get Borderlands 3 on PC for $50, you can get that right now. The new John Wick game from Bithell over there is going to be $7.99 if you did want to pick that up. And of course, Hades, the beefy update, is $6.99, which I've heard good things about. And so, of course, there are tons of other games on sale. It is a pretty big deal, of course, to see the first big sale on the Epic Games Store. And so we have a question in the chat. Is Epic copying Steam or vice versa? I mean, the essence of it all is that a summer sale tends to happen on a variety of stores. So you could say that it's copying Steam, but you could also say it's copying Humble and a variety of other storefronts. It's just a big sale because they haven't had one yet. So the games themselves, though, are phenomenally priced. I actually logged on to see what the sale was actually entailing, to see if it was even worth checking out. And I verbally said, oh, okay. Like, that's a pretty good sale, so I might even pre-order a couple of games here. I mean, Borderlands 3 for $50. You aren't going to be getting that game any cheaper prior to launch, and again, on PC, it's going to be a pretty big launch. So, of course, you know, if you don't want to buy things from the Epic Games Store, which I know many people don't, then you can save your money for the Epic sale over there on Steam, if you did want to get that. And, of course, you can always wait for the games themselves to end that timed exclusivity and pick them up over there on the Valve storefront. But again, Metro Exodus for $35, very tempting here, very tempting. Also, side note, I cannot recommend The Witness enough. It was given away for free a couple of weeks back via the Epic Games Store, so you might have picked it up then. We talked about it here on Caffeinate. And of course, it's also been given away on the PS4 via the PlayStation Plus free games program. But The Witness is a phenomenal puzzle game that is very relaxing. It's got a fantastic, phenomenal setting. Really do love that game. And it's on sale for $10, which is totally worth the price. But with that being said, if you did want to check out the Epic Games Store Epic Mega Sale, you can check that out right now, and it's running again through June the 13th. But you can always check out the FORTNITE skins and the FORTNITE crossover events and tons of new stuff in the brand new season, but a new mode has added Keanu Reeves to the Battle Royale. FORTNITE Cross John Wick Wick's Bounty is available for solo, duos, and squads and awards 1 gold coin for every elimination scored. In addition, an elimination also bags you the number of gold coins your victim has amassed, so taking out a dominating player can be worth a huge amount. The top 3 bounty leaders with the most coins are displayed on a heads-up display scoreboard, and the first player to collect 1,000 coins wins the match. Possessing a certain amount of gold coins activates game elements designed to make the mode more difficult. With 400 coins in your possession, the bounty leaders can be seen on the map when they are nearby, moving or shooting. At 600 coins, bounty leaders can be seen by everyone on the map and will have a glow effect around their character. The trailer, which shows off the new John Wick skin, pokes fun at Fortnite's Reaper skin from Season 3, which is based on John Wick but not as accurate to Keanu Reeves' facial features as the new official version. As for collectibles, the John Wick set includes the skin as well as the simple sledge pickaxe. There are also free John Wick challenges that provide free rewards, including the gold coin back bling, the one-shot glider, and the boogeyman wrap. But of course, there is tons of new content in Season 9. However, I did want to point out this new game mode because it sounds very fun. The limited time modes, of course, are big collaborations, 9 times out of 10. With external properties. So, of course, we had the big Avengers crossover that was happening a couple of weeks back. Now we have a big Fortnite cross John Wick because, of course, John Wick Chapter 3 coming out very soon. Parabellum, I believe that's what that's called. But the whole idea in the movie is that he's on the run because now he has been kind of exiled from this protective group, and so now he has to fight everyone, which is the same kind of idea that you're getting within the Wick's Bounty limited time mode right now. So, if you still play Fortnite and you want to dive back into it, there is a big new event going on right now with a ton of stuff that can be earned within the game. Now, yesterday, we did talk about Rainbow Six Siege because it made over $1 billion in the course of its lifetime since 2015, but now let's talk about the brand new operators. It was a slow news day because, you know, it is what it is. But anyways, we have 2 new operators to talk about as of right now. Rainbow Six Siege's second season of Year 4, entitled Operation Phantom Sight, will arrive soon, and Ubisoft is teasing the update's new operators. The first addition is Knock, a Danish attacker who uses the Hell, a cloaking device that grants limited invisibility to cameras and other players. That certainly sounds helpful. Check out a Knock teaser trailer and description below. Focused and driven, Knock uses her special operations training to infiltrate, gather intel, and defeat her opponents. As a member of the Jaeger Corpset, she strikes fear into the hearts of anyone who goes up against her. On top of that, she harnesses a spirit of loyalty and leads, by example, to elevate the people she works with. Unlike the general population, her fellow operators know who she is and welcome her into the fold. The potential scandal her family might face is of little importance to them. She is one of the best in her field, and they wouldn't betray her even if it came to that. Her gadget is just the icing on the cake for an already dangerous operative. The Hell, which she worked on to improve with specialist graced Dokabi Nam, makes Knock nothing short of a ghost and leaves her opponents looking over their shoulders. In other words, she is invisibility. Our other new Phantom Sight operator is Warden, an American defender who uses his special glance smart glasses to gain crucial info on his opponents. He also looks like a stylish Commissioner Gordon, so he's got that going for him, but you can get the lowdown on him below. But hailing from the state of Kentucky, Colin Warden McKinley rose through the ranks of the Marines before he found his calling for close protection detail in the Secret Service. He demonstrated his skills distinctly when he led the Secretary of State to safety during an attack where hostiles outmaneuvered all prior planning. The events of that day gave him the idea for his gadget's prototype, the Glance Smart Glasses. They reflect the nature of his natural talent to see what most cannot in order to gain the upper hand in any given situation. He would be just as talented without them, but with them he is nothing but unstoppable. His tendency to follow his gut and his unshakable confidence have proved that he is in a league of his own. It's no wonder that he was recommended by high-ranking government officials. Now that he is part of the team, he faces a new challenge to determine if that skill set in iron will remain unparalleled when he faces the specialist of his own caliber. But of course, those are two of the new operators that we know of right now, and everything begins probably sometime in June. There is no official release date, but again, coming soon to the PC, the PS4, and the Xbox One. But nevertheless, exciting times. I'm especially excited about the first operative that we talked about, Knock. Of course, I haven't played Rainbow Six Siege in a very long time, but at the same time, I will say the whole ghost idea here, the invisibility element here, is something that I think is very useful going into a round of Rainbow Six Siege. Of course, the question is, how useful will the invisibility actually be? It cannot be overpowered by any stretch of the imagination, but it could be a game-changing element for some that are able to outmaneuver some of those big webcams that are set up here and there. Of course, when it comes to Warden, I'm sure this is something that you can use to perhaps identify where claymores, etc. are set up. That kind of element, maybe a couple of traps here and there. That's probably what I'm getting from here. But nonetheless, cool ideas, and one thing that always blows me away is how creative people can get within the world of Rainbow Six Siege. The guys behind the scenes that develop these new characters, these new operatives, do a very good job of that. So exciting times for those that did want to dive back into Rainbow Six Siege. Of course, an incredibly popular game as it stands right now. But speaking of games, of course, we've been talking about games for a minute. I've got 2 free games for you, because you can get a free copy of Guacamelee right now from Humble. 'Tis the season of free games. It's going to be a great weekend for PC gamers on a budget, as the Epic Store just launched a store-wide sale, which we just talked about, and multiple free games are available from various digital stores. Of course, from Epic, you can get the Stories Untold as the first free giveaway for the story. We'll talk about the second here in a moment, but Humble is giving away Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition for free for the next few days, and all you have to do is sign up for the store's newsletter. The offer is available until Sunday, May the 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, or while supplies last, so do not wait too long to claim this deal. Of course, Guacamelee is an excellent Metroidvania-style action platformer that tells the story of agave farmer Juan Aguagate, who is in love with the mayor's daughter. At the beginning of the game, Juan is killed by evil skeleton Carlos Calaca. However, he is later given a magical luchador mask that allows him to return to the world of the living and fight demonic skeletons in his quest to rescue his true love and save his town. So, phenomenal game here. Great to have it for free in your library. And again, it's free, so why not? And on top of that, Guacamelee 2 is 60% off as part of Humble's spring sale, so you can get the game for $8. But let's say you like snowboarding, Everybody loves snowboarding. It may not be SSX, but you can get yourself a free copy of Steep right now. For a limited time, Ubisoft is giving away free copies of the PC version of Steep. Though Ubisoft appears to have retired its regular Uplay freebies, the publisher does offer free games from time to time. The next promotion is here with Steep, the 2016 winter sports game. You may be forgiven for forgetting the game existed, as it admittedly made much less of a splash than anticipated. As it tends to, however, Ubisoft stuck with it and continued to support it, and you wouldn't believe it, Steep continues to get paid expansions, with the most recent being the addition of the X games. In any case, the base version of Steep is yours to keep forever if you manage to claim it through the Uplay link. The game should appear in your library immediately, where you will be able to download it. And I will say, Steep is not SSX, but it is a very fun game, and the expansion in and of itself is a pretty fun experience as well. But this gets you into the game for free. You get to see if it's something you might be into, and on top of that, the snow in this game, the snow looks really good. When it comes to snowboarding games, if you can create a good-looking, natural-looking snow, then you do something very well. Is it perfect in Steep? No. But is it done relatively well? Absolutely. So if you like classic snowboarding games, then you'll probably enjoy Steep. And again, as I always say, the game is free, so just dive in and pick it up. And on top of that, remember Stories Untold on the Epic Games Store. So you get 3 free games this weekend. If you have nothing to play, that's a lie. You have plenty to play. But as Rasm says in the chat, pretty cool since it's my birthday next week, so kind of an early birthday gift. There you have it. Free games for you. But with that being said, that rounds out today's episode of Caffeinate. Of course, if you enjoyed today's show, be sure to drop me a like down below if you are watching on YouTube. On top of that, if you are listening on a podcast service, I appreciate you being here as well. And for those live in the chat, I appreciate you deeply. And of course, the show is hosted live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. If you did want to give it a listen, give it a look, give it a watch, because I'm always here with the hottest gaming news. But until next time, you guys have a phenomenal rest of the weekend. Peace.